once again, South Florida, and welcome to Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler and Art Athanas of LSF Capital. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. Every single week, we try to help you with retirement planning solutions. Art, thank you so much for joining us again. You must be having fun the last few weeks on TV.
I certainly have been, yeah. That's great.
Normally, you're doing the taxes, the investments, and so forth. You often do join us on
usually behind my desk.
That's right, yeah.
Well, you're behind this desk now.
That's right.
Mr. Len Strickler, how you doing this week?
Doing great, Spike. Thanks.
Well, you guys have all put together a great program that we're happy to be sharing with you. It's some of the top retirement planning mistakes that folks make. And the reason why we want to talk about this is so you don't repeat those mistakes yourself. This is what Len and Art do every single day in the offices. So if we can help you avoid some of these mistakes on your own, you might have a happier, healthier, and longer retirement that you get to enjoy. So great program today, guys. Len, let's start out with this one, procrastination. There might not be a lot that folks can do if they feel that they've procrastinated, or can they?
Well, you know, procrastination is, I don't want anybody to think, say anything negative about it, because look, folks, we know life comes at you hard and fast, okay? Things come up, kids, everything, happens fast in life. But, a lot of folks actually plan their vacation more than they do their retirement or their financial journey. And so what we want to do is help you take some of that load off of you and come in and see us so we can help you with that. Starting early is really, it's great because remember, you got the compounding of interest. So the earlier you start, the better off you're going to be. Take advantage of some of these things, but we're going to help you with that. We're going to show you exactly kind of a roadmap on how to get there and where to go. We know where the potholes are, folks. Art's been doing this 34 years right here in South Florida. And so we absolutely can help you with that. So don't feel bad about procrastinating. Just go ahead and come in and see us and let us help you.
There's one thing also to keep in mind is the IRS has allowed us to make some of those catch-up contributions.
Yeah, it's true. Good
so
point.
If you're 50 years and older, you can add an extra $7,000 to your 401k.
Doing some very simple math on that. So let's say that you're 50, 52 years old. There's a couple of cutesy phrases that are going on around there. One's called the sandwich generation, that you're older, taking care of your adult children and or maybe your baby boomer parents who haven't saved enough. You're sandwiched in between those costs. Another one is kind of being called the snowplow generation, where you're plowing the way by taking care of your younger kids or your older parents, by paying their bills. It's time, though, for you to maybe start focusing on yourself and your family. We know that you love your family, but you can't take care of anyone if you're not able to retire yourself. So these catch-ups aren't. $30,500 a year, you do that for 15 years, we're talking close to $500,000.
Yeah.
And if we have both of us working, we can catch up to $1 million pretty quickly.
Yeah, so the government does allow us to do that, and it just makes a lot of sense if you're behind to try and catch up a little bit.
Yeah. And then, so let's say that we're working. One of the things when we talk about catching up or procrastinating is that maybe we haven't reviewed our 401ks in a while because you figure, well, there's not much I can do with it. I mean, those are the funds we have. But we've heard about this magic number at 59.5 when it comes to your retirement accounts. What can you sometimes do with a retirement account at 59.5?
Well, you can move it if it's not performing where it is, or if the available funds or investments are not what they should be. You want to get it into something that, that can make you some money and some growth, so you're going to have what you need when you retire. So that could make a big difference.
And how exactly do you do that? Is this something where you take the funds out and you invest it yourself?
Yeah, now you can't always do it. Sometimes, you're locked in with a 401k where you're working. If you're contributing, a lot of companies won't allow you to move it. But if you can move it, we can move it to an IRA, a traditional IRA, just by moving it over. There's no taxes involved in doing that, and maybe we can get you into some much better investments.
Right, and all of that is part of the review process.
Right.
Another one of the things, though, that we want to make sure that people are taking into account and why the investment strategy is so very, very important is inflation. We look at costs, we look at performance, people look at what kind of tool they're using. Is it going to be an annuity? Is it going to be an investment strategy? But not taking into account inflation, Len. This is something that it's part of the math that's got to be put into the equation.
Absolutely it is. Yeah, inflation is, folks, it'll, you know, at 8%, even if you're at a 3% inflation, you know, we've got a plan for that, because that is going to eat into your money. 8% will definitely eat into that money. And what that means is longevity, too. You're not going to be able to have enough money to go to the distance. So, you know, that's something that we have to take into account. Art actually does an income analyzer plan, okay, where he takes in what's your goal. He looks at taxes, and you look at inflation, you know, RMDs, a number of things, and we take everything into account, and then you're able to show, you know, a client.
We usually build in about a 3% inflation on our plans. So every year, you know, whatever your goal is, it's going to go up 3% every year. So we want to make sure that that's built into it. And the other thing we look at the same time is taxes. We want to make sure that the taxes are enough on there so we can make sure that you have enough for taxes.
Right, right. So what I want to do is that we're going to continue to go through some of the mistakes that people make, some of the biggest retirement planning mistakes, but I know how excited Len is about this.
Oh,
your brand new book. Folks,
Oh.
you can get a complimentary copy of Len's book when you schedule an appointment to come into the office. Way of the Financial Warrior. So is the Way of the Financial Warrior, is this offense? Is this about stepping on the gas pedal with your investments? What's the book about?
It's really being defensive, okay? As you know, I'm a 6th-degree black belt. Came up from the projects of Philly. I'm the oldest of 8. And, you know, I kind of had to fight my way out of there, right? So I got involved in the martial arts, but I absolutely love it, because some of the things that it taught me, you know, taught me focus, discipline, you know, things that relate to the financial world, right? You got to have discipline, okay? You got to focus on what you're doing with your money, you know, make sure you're keeping up with it, you know, with reviews. So all those things were part of what I tried to do to put it in layman's terms, right? And so, yeah, there's 5 moves, defensive moves, to help you make sure that, first off, you never lose any money, okay? That you have some nice upside gain, folks. And then the other thing is that really you have peace of mind. You know, you want to make sure that the money's going to be there for your family when you need it.
Well, I know it was a well-written book because I was able to understand it. It was simple, easy to read, layman's terms. Folks, get Way of the Financial Warrior. Get this complimentary book. When you schedule an appointment and come in and do your review with Len and the team, we'll get you a copy of the book, and you will get your own written financial plan. It is a process. It's not something that just happens on the first meeting, but we'll talk to you about your investments, taxes, estate planning, healthcare choices, even how and when to take your Social Security if you haven't turned it on yet. All of that and more. And in fact, we're going to talk a little bit about reviews and how Len and Art stay hands-on in the process once you become a client after this break. But call the phone number you see here. More Let's Talk Safe Money with Len and Art right after this.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carolyn 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there or be square. Happy birthday to you. You can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion...
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
This is Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler and Art Athanas of LSF Capital right here in South Florida. I'm your host, 𝘃ecie 𝗶𝗍. We're talking about some of the retirement planning mistakes that Len and Art see all the time in the offices. We're talking about it to hopefully help you avoid these planning mistakes. Now, when we talk about poor investment choices or poor investment decisions, there isn't a lot that we have choice of during our working years. We have only the choices of those retirement accounts maybe at work. Oh, of course, we could invest on the outside if we want to, but I think the vast majority of Americans have most of their savings in these retirement accounts at work. What do you see, Art? Are they making good decisions inside those investment accounts?
No, and that's the problem. You know, usually when they get into one of these 401ks at work, they might have some literature that they can pick up, maybe go online, and they just go in and they have to pick their own investments, their own funds, and usually they don't do a good job doing it, you know, because they're told that, oh, you should be very safe, and they're in a bond fund, but they got 25 years to invest, you know, so they're not picking the right investments. But these are things that we like to review with them, even though we may not have sold that 401k to them. But when a client comes in, we look at what they have and we try and help them and advise them on what funds that there are. But you know, it is important to really go back and look and do. We always do a 6-month review in our office, so with our clients, they know where they are, and it's very important to have that 6-month review, right?
Absolutely, yeah. But, you know, it reminds me of a story, Art, a real story. We had Vita and Dave came in to our office, and you know, Dave was really sharp. He's a sharp guy, and so we were helping them with their finances. They were really smart. He would actually, with our newsletters, give us response back and everything. So he really was on top of it. And unfortunately, he passed away. And so Vita, you know, we said, well, we better call Vita so we can get a review. And so, you know, I called and no answer. And I'm saying, so I called again. I still didn't get an answer. And I said, this is unusual, because Vita was always good. You know, she didn't know that much about the money side, but she was always there at every review. Yeah. And so finally I got really concerned, and I called her in the evening. And she answered the phone, and I could tell in her voice that, you know, something was not right. It just didn't seem right, and almost like she's ready to cry or something. But anyway, I convinced her to come into the office to sit down with Art and I. And she came in, and when she came in, I could tell she was still something wasn't right. And so we sit down, and we're getting ready to talk to her about, you know, her financial plan. And I said, Avita, hold on a second. You know, before we get into this, what is wrong? What's going on? And she looked at me and she said, well, I'm part of a bowling league, and this was now right before 2008, okay, right in that area. And she says, you know, and all my friends are talking about how much money they've lost. Their 401k turned into a 201k, and they just lost money. And she said, I knew I didn't want to come because I know I've lost money. And I reached over and patted her on the hand. I said, Vita, you haven't lost any money. You've made some money. We don't invest that way. But I'm glad you're here for your review. So it's important to get that review, okay? You know, but again, Art and I don't invest where you're going to absolutely lose a lot of money. We just don't do it. We're not going to invest that way. We're going to mitigate if we do something on the managed money side, and for sure when we on the annuity side, we're going to make sure you have an annuity that you're never going to lose money. Okay, you're going to get some upside gains, right? And we're going to put at least your age into that piece so it's safe at all times.
And it's a very common tale, and that's something I'd like to say to the viewers as well. If that feels like you, if you are so worried that you don't even want to know what your position is right now, are you going to be able to be retired? There are millions of Americans across the country who feel just like you do. You are not alone. But you know what? It might not be as bad as you think. If you want to call, come on in. We can start to do a complete review for you. We'll put together a written strategy. We'll see where you're at right now with the investments that you're using, and possibly be able to come up with a plan for you. Now, Art, that's got to be a lot of time drain on the organization. I mean, I know that you've been hiring more advisors, you got more people on the team, but every 6 months, I mean, do you really see that many changes, or is this just something that makes your clients feel more comfortable because they know that somebody's hands are on the steering wheel?
Well, we definitely want to touch base with them. We want to call them. They don't always have to come into the office. If we see there's some changes that we think they should make, then we definitely want them to come in. But we want to be able to contact them one way or the other and say, hey, your account's doing fine. you know, we're up this, you know, we're happy where we are. And it's just to keep, so they know and they're relaxed that they don't have to worry about it. So many people we meet at the seminars and we ask them, they haven't talked to their advisor in like a year, 2 years.
No, more, yeah. Some of them don't get a call back.
So,
I mean, you guys are everywhere. You're on the TV. You're on the radio show. You've got live
Social
events.
media.
And then, of course, your website where there's fantastic tools. What's the website again, Art?
yeah, it's lsfcapitalgroup.com.
Okay, you go to lsfcapitalgroup.com, and there's so many tools there. Number one, you can go to the events tab. Click on there. You can register for a live event, no cost. You guys do this all over, everywhere from steakhouses. You've done the Dower Classic Car Museum. You come in, you can see their presentation, ask your questions. You can also schedule your own complimentary review. You can do that right there on the website. But staying in touch with folks.
Right.
You're doing this personally. You're not using all that AI and automation right now, are you?
No. It's very personal. And, you know, don't forget, Spike, you cannot forget Len's book.
You never let me forget, Len. You never, ever let me forget. The Way of the Financial Warrior.
Way of the Financial Warrior, folks. I'm really proud of this, and hopefully it's something that'll help you. I think a lot of folks have given me good feedback that they've learned at least 5 defensive moves that can help them in their retirement.
Well, speaking of defensive moves, before we go out to this break real quick, one of the biggest things that you've been cautioning people on lately is an over-reliance on Social Security. And what do you mean by that? By using only that as an income, or using Social Security to start your retirement early and taking that lower amount? What are you concerned about with an over-reliance on Social Security, guys?
Well, you can't really rely on Social Security. You have to have other assets and other ways of taking your income. Social Security is going to be a combination of some of your other assets coming in, and when you want to start your withdrawals from Social Security make a big difference. You know, if you started at age 62, you're going to take the low end of the income choice. Every year you wait, it's going to go up 8%. So if you can wait to age 70, you've gained 8% every year on the amount of money you can take out. Now, maybe a lot of people have other assets. Maybe you can take assets from other accounts from age 65 to age 70 and then turn on your Social Security. But it's not something you want to rely on as, okay, I have my Social Security and I'm all set for retirement.
Right.
You know, we have
so with that Social Security and over-reliance on that, I also want to throw in there myself the over-reliance on Medicare. Medicare doesn't necessarily cover things like long-term care, does it?
No, that's absolutely correct. And that is one of the things that we've got to take off the table, Spike. I mean, as you know, my personal story of my wife, Marcia, 45 years I was married to a high school sweetheart, and she came down with frontal temporal dementia. It's the same disease that Bruce Willis has right now, and they don't live very long. She lived longer than most. She lived 6 years, but I share that because long-term care is something that's very expensive. One place I had her was $9,600 a month. It'll just eat you up, not only emotionally, but folks, it'll hit you hard financially. We've got to take that off the table, or at least plan for that in some way.
All right, and that's exactly why we're talking about some of these retirement planning mistakes. Take into account the higher costs of your own health care as you move deeper and deeper into retirement. We've seen some figures that if you reach the age of 65, you could spend over $300,000 on health care alone in retirement. So what part of your nest egg is that going to come from? There might be ways that you can leverage it with certain kinds of long-term care planning leverage tools. Call the phone number you see right down here on the bottom of the screen so we can get you started on your own retirement plan. And in fact, I know a lot of you are using your phones as well. Open it up to the camera function and point it at that QR code box. When you click on it, it'll take you right over to their website. You can schedule an appointment right there. More Let's Talk Save Money with Len and Art when we get back right after this.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination rain on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back. This is Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler, Art Athanas. I'm your host, Spike Spangle, and we're talking about some of the retirement planning mistakes we are hoping we can help you, our viewers, avoid. Art, we know, one of your favorite topics, taxes. Can we make taxes exciting for our viewers out there? You say avoiding or not doing, neglecting our tax planning can be a huge mistake in retirement.
Huge.
Right. You know, how many people know that the maximum tax rate between 1940 and 1961 was over 90%? That means if you got over $200,000 of income back then, 92% of your money went to the IRS. So we have to plan for taxes. A lot of the economists that we've looked at, we follow what they're thinking and which way they think taxes might go. Of course, we got the national debt at $34 trillion. It's kind of a no-brainer which way the taxes have to go. But if you think back, the taxes were at 90%. Maybe they could go halfway in there. Maybe they go 50%. So wouldn't it make sense to really do some planning on taxes today? And how we do that? You know, we talked about Roth conversions. That could be probably one of the most important things that people could look at today.
And real quick, if you don't mind, for a review, if people didn't catch our previous program, just what exactly, in a few different senses, what is the Roth conversion exactly?
So what we're doing is we're taking money either from a 401k or from a traditional IRA that's growing all tax deferred. But when you take every dollar coming out of that when you retire or when you start taking money out is taxable. If we can get that moved into a Roth IRA, now we got to pay the tax. So it's like the entire amount is taxable income when we move it, but you'll never pay tax again when it's in the Roth IRA. All the growth is tax-free. There's no RMDs to take out. So it's a phenomenal move to do that. And we have the planning software that can show you within minutes. Matter of fact, it's on our website. If you want to go to our website, and right up at the top, it has a retirement tax calculator. And in like 30 seconds, you can put in how much money you have in your IRA, what your tax rate is, and it's going to tell you how much tax over your lifetime you're going to pay on those RMDs.
That website is lsfcapitalgroup.com. That's lsfcapitalgroup.com. Art, though, oh, man. So, Len, we've had him on for a few shows. I think he's warmed up. I'm going to put him on the hot seat right now.
Here we go.
He doesn't know this curveball is coming.
Oh, boy.
What do you think, then, is more important in retirement? Having a good tax strategy or having a good investment strategy? What's more important? Do we need higher gains from our investments? Or can we take lower gains from our investments but have a great tax strategy? What is more important to you?
I don't know if we have to make a choice, first of all, because
That's a good way out of
There
that.
you go.
because we try and
Have you ever run for office? That's a good answer.
we try and do both, obviously. But I definitely think tax planning is very, very important. I honestly believe we're going to see tax rates at 50%. So if that's the case, doesn't it make sense to move your money now that maybe you're in a 22% tax bracket and it might go to 44% tax bracket.
And I know, especially if we can have this brought up right now, is I know that we do have a tax review. There's a tax review. We can do that in the office. We can try to help you. We can either do it by registering on the website or doing it in the office.
Right.
Because trying to keep more of your hard-earned money right now in retirement is really important. It's changing the rules of the game while you're playing it.
Yeah.
I mean, the carrot that we were told for almost 4 decades is save tax deferred because probably your tax brackets will be lower in retirement.
Yeah.
Len, do you notice that people's tax brackets are lower when they get to retirement?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no. They're not lower.
No, because we're usually maintaining the same kind of lifestyle.
That's right.
So we're pulling money out.
They did a survey, I think it was Deutsche Bank, right? And they asked folks, are you spending more in retirement or less in retirement, right? I think it was like 70-some% said that they were spending more in retirement, right? And the reason is, folks, every day Saturday. What do you do? I can only go off so much. And the wife says, let's go shopping again. Oh, or we got to go see the grandkids. I mean, all of a sudden, you're spending, as much, and you don't have the deductions that we used to have either, right?
I was just going to say, you lost your deductions. Most people that are retiring have their house paid off, so they're losing the tax deduction on paying their mortgage payment. Their kids have moved out of the house. They don't get the tax deduction for their kids.
Some of them have.
Some of them have. Good point. Some of them
Mine have. I moved into a house that only had 2 bedrooms.
There you go. Smart.
And anyhow, and the third thing is that they're not putting into a 401k, so they're not getting that tax deduction. Yeah. So and what they're doing is they're taking money out. So they lose the 3 tax deductions. So I don't think people are paying less taxes, and I think that they're living on pretty much the same as they were when they were working.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of information on today's program. We tried to cover as many different retirement planning mistakes as you see folks make, and we're trying to help you avoid them. But one of the best things we can do is get you a tool into your hands, right?
Man, I love
right,
this
Len?
bike.
Tell them about the book real quick as we close out.
Folks, I'd love to have you just go on the website. You can go on the website or come in for an appointment and get my new book. I'm proud of it, okay? I'm a 6th-degree black belt. I ended up putting this some strategies in here for defensive moves for you in layman's terms, and hopefully I think it would really help you. I'm getting a lot of good feedback. Go to the website, lsfcapitalgroup.com. You can actually get a copy of the book there by filling out the upper right. Thanks.
Art and Len, thank you so very much for helping folks out. Retirement Income Solutions is what you do every single day in the office. Thank you for helping folks out. And for you, our viewers, it's very simple. All you got to do is call the phone number you see down on the bottom of the screen when you come in for an appointment. We'll get you a complimentary copy of the book. So call that phone number or use the QR code. Open up your phone to the camera function, click on it, it'll take you over to the website. Thanks for watching Let's Talk Safe Money with Len and Art. I'm Spike. We'll be back again next week.